All right, Jason here from Floxie Hope. I'm with a guest of mine today to talk about his story, his journey, and I'm going to let him introduce himself and give you a little dialogue on what happened to him.
Cool. Thank you, Jason, for having me. I mean, I've known you for a while, and I mean your Facebook page has helped me immensely. Especially from the positivity side. And I actually stumbled onto your page, I would say, a little bit more than halfway through my journey. But yeah, I'm Hercus Greyling. I live in South Africa, Cape Town. And yeah, I've been damaged by fluoroquinolones in, I would say, my first tablet I took in November 2015. In a very unfortunate sequence of events, took place after that. Um, I'll start by saying that what really happened is I went for a routine checkup. I mean, in medical world, everybody would tell you that, you have to do your checkups. You're 35-year-old male. You have to have your checkups done annually. And that's really what I did. I had no issues. And I went to see a physician in a well-known hospital here in Cape Town. It was my second visit to him. And he did his routine checks and he picked up what's white blood cells in my urine. And that just escalated. And at the same time, he said to me, it could be many things. It could be an infection. It could be, I can't pronounce the word, but inflammation of the bladder. It could be cancer. It could be so many things. And I'm like, what's going on? But he said, listen, it's probably just an infection. And he gave me Tavernic, which is a fluoroquinolone. I think it's a Levaquin, just in case I have an infection. And then, that's where it started. I developed symptoms soon after that. Jason, is it okay if I just carry on like this?
Yeah, totally fine. Yeah, just keep carrying on.
Sure. And also, if I get too long-winded, interrupt me. But basically, I ended up going onto the antibiotic for about 7 days, and the symptoms started almost immediately, and I had no idea what was going on. For me, it started in my lower back. I had lower back pain, muscle pain. I felt like I pulled a hamstring, but I didn't know what was going on. I also was very anxious, which is not my nature. I've got quite a stressful job, and I've always managed stress very well all my life. So it was strange to me. Anyway, I'll fast forward from there. That escalated. I mean, I ended up with neurologists who had a cystoscopy done, which was a very invasive procedure. During that procedure, they gave me the intravenous fluoroquinolone. The neurologist also, despite tests turning up negative, continued to give me Cipro. And this all happened over a period of about, I would say, 6 to 7 months. And the symptoms just escalated. I'm pretty strong, I think, and very active. I love sports. I'm a triathlete. I do biathlons at national level as a veteran. So I've done all those things. So for me, it was very strange, and these things happening in my body. And then, so it started in November 2015, and I never really had the tendon issues, which was quite strange in hindsight, but I had a lot of neurological and muscle issues and the anxiety. At some point, Jason, at work, I mean, I've got phenomenal people working for me, but I ended up sleeping, taking naps underneath my desk and locking my door and hiding it from the big boss kind of thing, just to get through the day. Because in South Africa, you have a good job, you have to hang on to it. And my colleagues helped me. I've got two very solid guys working for me who sort of like helped me get through that difficult time. I lost 14 kilograms. And yeah, I mean, the symptoms, most of them I had. In 2018, no, 17, I thought, listen, I mean, by the way, I ended up getting tested for multiple sclerosis, MRI scans, because I lost feeling in my left hand and I couldn't pick up a point with my left hand. And the doctors were quite worried. So I got tested for that, but they couldn't pick up lesions. So they said, no, you probably don't have it. We don't really know what's going on. Blood tests, I mean, it carried on for about a year. And at that point, I started thinking to myself, listen, you've been on antibiotics so often in your life. Just Google antibiotic poisoning. And what popped up was this rabbit hole that you've been down and so many other people. And on top of it was fluoroquinolone toxicity. And from there, I actually ended up on Floxie Hope. I ended on the fluoroquinolone toxicity group. And at that point in time, I realized this is exactly what's going on in my body. In hindsight, in 2015, all it was, Jason, was inflammation of my prostate because I cycled with a bicycle with a small saddle. And all I needed to do was get a wider saddle. And that would have sorted me out. And they put me through this hell for 12 months. Not one doctor asked me, listen, and this doctor knew I'm a cyclist. He knew I'm a sportsman. But they're not interested, you know, in your story, which was for me very frustrating. So yeah, I mean, then I Googled it and I realized that I'm not going to get any help from Western doctors. And from there, I proceeded to get into contact with a naturopath who lives on a farm in the middle of nowhere here in South Africa. At the time I visited him was early 2017. I could barely walk 300 meters. And I had no energy and I had so much pain. He immediately said to me, look, we got to sort out your gut. We got to sort out your diet. And he put me on a whole supplement regime. And I can go into that if you want me to. But that's within a month, I got my energy back. But then the pain and the ache surfaced. That was October 2017. But as soon as I got my energy back, I started running or slow walks, which ended up going into a slow jog, swam again. After my first swim, that I woke up that next morning and I lifted my arms and was blue with micro tears underneath my arms from that swim. That scared the living daylights out of me. And then I stopped that for a while. But I managed to, over a 6-month period, get myself into a fitness level where I actually won silver in our national championships as a biathlete. But then after that, I crashed completely and the tendon started. My Achilles tendons packed up in February 2018. And from there, it got really bad again. And I just realized that this thing is cycling. You know, it recurs, it comes back. And if you're not on top of it all the time, you know, you can get hurt. But at that point, I think I realized that I got to look after my body. I have to eat healthy. I had to take my supplements. I have to steer clear from toxic exposure, which I did for about a year. And gradually I rebuilt my body through that time. And I think, Jason, I might get my dates wrong, but I think it's about a year and a half or 2 years ago, I stumbled onto your Facebook page, or we became acquainted, and you mentioned you're going to start a page. And it's at that point where I also worked out that my relapses is very much linked to stress. And I have to thank you there. I mean, at that point, I was a very positive person and I kept on going. I kept on training. I refused to stop. Listening to my body, I have to put that out there. I mean, you have to be so careful. You can hurt yourself. And I was, but I kept on moving. And I started meditating. I worked on my positivity, and I actually went off the other Facebook pages for a while because, I mean, there's so many sad stories. And when you're in such a place, you can't always help people. I think the positivity made a big difference. And I started managing my stress. And long story short, and then I'll stop talking. And this year, you and I have been in contact in October. I actually had a good stint for about 3 to 4 months where I ended up running again. I think I ran about 700 kilometers in 2020, which for me was a huge amount with my background with the toxicity. And then suddenly in October, November, I got this incredible nerve pain in my legs, which was debilitating. I mean, I thought I had COVID for a while, and I got tested. It wasn't the case. I couldn't walk up 2 flights of stairs, and I was down. I had such pain in the lactic acid buildup in my muscles was terrible. I went on a holiday, and I mentioned to you, that's when I picked up on Wim Hof, and I started the Wim Hof breathing, and within a week, the pain was gone. And at that, I ended up researching what he does. It's also the cold baths, the cold showers, and the fact that your breathing can alkaline your body if you do it properly within 10 minutes. I also think the oxygen getting to my nerves with the deep breathing and the consistent, I would do it 5-6 times a day. I once or twice passed out on a mat, actually, by holding my breath too long. But that's made a huge difference. And also it manages my stress. So long story short, it's been a 5-year journey with the first 2 years being terrible. I didn't know what was wrong. And then after that, gradually working out how to improve and heal my body with the help of many people on these groups. And it includes you, Jason. I have to give you thanks. I mean, just listening to your podcasts and your videos and reading your posts made a big difference, especially in the last year. And yeah, I mean, healing is possible, absolutely possible. I just got my results from my OAT test, which you also recommended I do. And the good news for me is that my mitochondria seems healthy, which I really believe is the last 4 or 5 years of rebuilding. My issues are linked to fungus in my gut, which I need to sort out. A little bit low on vitamin B2 and 6, I think. But that's about it. So I'm very, very grateful.
That's amazing.
Yeah, healing is possible.
Yeah, healing is a very broad word, right? Like, because everyone has their own path to wellness, or
yeah,
how they're going to get there. And I've always felt that the easiest way to get there is starting off every day by just believing it. You know, you're going to get there, you know. So
absolutely. And Jason, I need to add this I've got COVID as I sit here. And my body, because I've built, oh, by the way, I have to mention, I haven't been on Western medicine for more than 3 years. Not even an antihistamine, not even a pain tablet. I don't touch the stuff. And I think the reason, I only know I'm COVID because my wife is a little bit sick, but she's okay. But it didn't affect me at all. And I had tested and I'm positive, but I'm fine, and I'm on day 12.
wow.
Which is incredible. If you look after your body looks after you.
Yeah, you must have antibodies built up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So the medical system completely failed you like they failed me. I had epididymitis, suspected prostatitis, and all it really was just like a viral, like a bacterial load in my body from Lyme disease, and it's like a side effect to having that. And all they had to do was just tell me to rest more and stop being so athletic and not give me the antibiotics. Same thing in your case. They just didn't look into it enough.
Absolutely. And that's sad. That's sad. But that's the life, the world we live in, eh?
Yeah, it is sad. I get so frustrated with the medical system and how overwhelmed they are. In every country, in every place, it's all the same.
Yeah, yeah. We actually had, Jason, maybe just to add, about in 2019, and I don't know if you ever saw the broadcast, but on Floxie Hope, I put the link on there for a while. I don't know if they took it off, but it's probably one of the best described investigative journalistic pieces on fluoroquinolone toxicity. What was done in South Africa, in fact, brilliantly done. I don't know if you know, what's the guy from Canada's name? He's a huge activist for fluoroquinolone toxicity. Will come to me now, but he's one of the admins.
Was it Charles Bennett, or like a doctor or an admin?
No. He's a I think you're friends with him even, but I'll come to him. But he lives in Canada. He does all these rallies and stuff.
Oh, Mark Gerard?
Yes, Mark.
Yeah,
and
great guy.
He came back saying it's one of the best pieces he's seen. It was almost half an hour piece. And what happened is I managed to get through to these guys after 2 years of trying, and they interviewed about 4 people in South Africa with the toxicity, and within a day, South African health authorities issued the warnings, and they improved on the warnings. But it's just so sad that you have to get this onto TV and have people ask questions. I mean, the month after that, I got bombarded with calls with people who realized that they actually have fluoroquinolone toxicity and not some other disease, you know, which is quite scary. Just get the word, I suppose.
Yeah, it really is. And it's sad because the drug is actually a simple way to understand how it poisons the body, right? It's got the fluoride, and then it's got the DNA effects, the mitochondrial effects. So it's sad that like if I can figure it out from a few, Google peer-reviewed studies, I don't know why these doctors can't do it the same, or these politicians and these government officials. It's frustrating to say the least.
Yeah, yeah.
So going forward,
yes, you're doing better.
Like,
you're winning, eh?
Yeah, I'm doing. I understand how it works. I got some issues like you do. I got fungus and mold and all that stuff, and my gut has been the worst part about this. My gut's never really bounced back, and I've thrown everything at it, and I'm almost there, but it just feels like I can't catch a break. I go up and I go down, but I understand how it works and relapses and all that, and I mitigate problems as much as I can, which is I think something going forward that we all have to realize going through this. I don't think that anyone comes out of this unscathed. I think we're changed for the better, of course, because we've learned all these things, but listening to your body, like you said, is very important. It's one of the most important things I've learned, and just being positive. We're all in here together, and sharing knowledge and advice is helpful. And this podcast could probably help a lot of people too.
No, I hope so. I mean, yeah, it's those relapses, eh? And when you feel better, you tend to forget for that, for a while.
Yeah.
And you've mentioned it in one of your videos or podcasts as well, but then you need to tap into that. You need to enjoy it and feed off that positivity and that good feeling, I suppose.
Yeah, I go for walks like that I've never been able to, or jogs, and it's astounding when I look at my watch and it tracks my steps, and I'm like, holy crap. But then I'll have some pain later, and I'm not used to that, so I get like this this fearful PTSD of, oh my god, something's gonna break, or am I gonna be in pain for the next 3 weeks? But that's a very normal thing to think going through this, and to be okay with that is a huge thing to handle. But it's built me to be a better person. So
yeah, I think you're right. I mean, for me, at some point, I also went off on trying everything. I ended up I think I've mentioned it to you. I've been injecting myself, into my heel, BPC 157. I don't know if it really helped, but the lengths you go to try and fix yourself is quite incredible. And sometimes you have to take a break from that. You said it in one of your recent posts. You have to take a break from,
everything.
If you don't do that, and since I've been doing that, I'm actually better off.
Yeah. I mean, we're in fight or flight pretty much every day, all day, because of this. And being on those Facebook groups and reading those negative stories, it just reinforces that mindset, and then it just stresses you out. And then, of course, you're going to feel like crap. I mean, if you're thinking you're damned and you're going to be sicker and you're going to get worse, then it's probably going to happen. You're reinforcing that thought. So I just try to tell people, just go do breathing work, or spend time with family, laugh and love, or call a friend. This is very isolating. I didn't talk to anyone for maybe a year, and then I was like, what, I gotta get out of my own way.
I also hid in my house for months because I couldn't let my parents see me the way. Like I said, I lost 12 kgs, and my dad used to worry a lot, and I didn't want him to see me like that, and you try and hide it and protect them from worrying. And to your point, it's actually a wrong thing to do. You need that support.
Yeah, I mean, if I could have done this all over, if I could have done it all over again, I would have just got off Facebook groups and just got very connected with earth and family and friends, and like grounding and breath work and meditation. And food can be medicine, but food can be poison. So that's a tricky suggestion to look at, because there's so many people saying so many different things. But I think
months,
I mean, you've
can't eat, and it becomes so stressful.
Yeah, the food intolerances. I bet to this day you probably still have some weird issues with food, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean
absolutely.
it's a strange road to be on. But what are some of the biggest roadblocks in the past, 6 years you've found yourself just hitting a wall that you just couldn't figure out, or anything that was in your way?
Yeah. Look, I think the initial one was the fact that I didn't know what was wrong. Then after that, um, I was so positive after the naturopath saw me and he told me, look, this can be fixed. But he even didn't really understand fluoroquinolone toxicity. He was dealing more with cancer patients and autoimmune patients, but the treatment is similar.
Mm-hmm.
For me was once I've worked that out, I felt like I'm moving forward. Then for about 6 months, I felt like I'm improving because I was in such a bad place. And then, that you mentioned it just now, thinking that you will be your old self eventually. I was like, I was going to win gold, in the biathlon, and I was aiming for it. But then that was for me the most difficult thing. Since 2018, I haven't been competitive at all. But I'm very thankful that I can run again and I can swim and I can cycle. I just need to manage the load.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I suppose, number one, working out what is wrong. Number two, getting onto the healing path and then hitting the wall with not getting to my old self and then having to make peace with that and then to celebrate life again, I suppose, after that. And I think I'm in that space now. You caught me in a good day. you know, I'm feeling really, really good at the moment since I've been doing the breathing and all of that. But yeah, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but yeah. And
No, that's
it's to see all the negativity. There's some people who are really, really badly hurt by that stuff. And I can't work out whether I'm just lucky or whether I've done the right stuff and someone else maybe didn't, because you don't really know what people do. I cheat often. I mean, I had a whiskey earlier tonight and I probably will feel it tomorrow. And,
mm-hmm.
I might be cheating a lot, but they don't tell you that on the Facebook groups. And so it's very difficult, I suppose.
There's a lot of contradictions and controversy, and I
Yeah.
myself have caught my own fair share of Facebook messages from angry people that I did, it's just I try to tune it out. If I'm not helping you, I'm sorry, but there's no right way to do any of this, I don't think. But I can say the universal thing that I've seen help 99% of people is being okay with the situation you're in, and just being positive about it, and just being like, I can cycle, I can walk, I can run, can't do a biathlon, but at least I'm not worse. At least I can enjoy some of the things that make me feel human, that make me tick, make me feel like life is worth living. And that's amazing, right? I mean,
Yeah. Look, Jason, what I will say, the positivity side of things, I mean, it sounds like it's a very airy-fairy word, but
mm-hmm,
I'm science behind it. For me personally, um, to have stress hormones released in your body consistently. Now, fluoroquinolones trigger that. For me, I was a very calm, relaxed, happy person before, fluoroquinolones. Since then, I became an anxious, more stressed person because I'm worried about my health. I'm worried about providing for my family and all those things. And that's escalated into my body consistently producing this poison.
mm-hmm,
And that's why I really believe that if you have a more positive outlook as an additional method of fighting this toxicity, it's crucial. I can't stress enough. If your body doesn't have to detox stress hormones, you give it a break, it can focus on detoxing other stuff, that you can't control. So since I've been more positive and focusing on the positive things and trying to manage stress through breathing and meditation, I've seen huge improvement and I'm a much happier person for it, even though I'm not the same person I used to be.
yeah, this is one of the most humbling experiences you'll go through. Like people that have cancer and these huge health problems. It's humble. It makes you humble. It makes you realize how important things can. It makes you realize how small the things you worried about before this happened really are.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Uh, so you were talking about the Wim Hof method, the breath work, and I'm a big believer in that because it does reduce lactic acid buildup, and it stimulates the sympathetic nervous system, which is that mild fight or flight response, but in a good way,
Yeah.
without triggering too much cortisol production. And it's beneficial, and it's helped you apparently, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've also read the book 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙉𝙉𝙀, I think, on breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So breathing techniques that focuses on the parasympathetic nervous system, which is
Mm-hmm.
the side, I think. So it's the dopamine release, which is more on the exhale.
Calming. Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is also, I'm combining the two,
Mm-hmm.
which has been really helpful. I think for me, particularly because I've started developing nervous system issues,
Mm-hmm.
and also I think related to stress. I think that's maybe why it helped. I don't know if it will help everybody. I don't know if it will. I think it will speed up healing in tendons. I think it can, because you increase blood flow, you increase oxygen, going to those areas. And because when you're stressed, you breathe shallow. You don't breathe deeply, and it's a subconscious thing. And it's a recent thing for me, but I'm a big fan of this. I think it's something that's made a big difference in my life, on top of magnesium and all the other things that we all understand, sorting
Yeah.
out. I think for me, this is a 20% game changer.
Yeah, at nighttime I do like vagal nerve breathing. So I'll do the short inhale, like the 4 or 5 second inhale,
Yes.
hold for 4, and then exhale for 8 or 9. And I sleep like a baby. I don't have any issue sleeping, and I don't
Yeah,
wake
you
up
told me a week
stressed.
ago, 2 weeks ago, to do that.
Yeah, just relax in bed and just breathe in, and breathe in for 4 to 6, hold for 4, and then exhale for 8 to 10, and then pause for 2, and then just keep that cycle. And every person that I've ever told to do that, they're sleeping much better. And it's weird because you
Brilliant.
can't be you're on your phone stressed out on Facebook groups, and before you go to bed, you're gonna wake up stressed out. It's just the nature of the
Absolutely.
beast. But
Yeah, I've
breath
been doing
work,
that as well. Yeah, yeah.
it
Then
works
you
great.
wake up, it's the next morning.
Yeah, it's crazy. It really does help, and I use it here and there. I get lazy. I don't always do it, but it helps. It definitely helps.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so what are you doing right now? Supplements, diet, what's
Yeah.
going on in your life to help you?
Yeah, so Jason, I'm seeing my homeopath next week, so we're going to work out a supplement regime, and
Okay.
just that OAT test picked up. But on top of that, I mostly drink clean water. That's a non-negotiable for me. I've got one of these ozone machines that catches the moist from the air and changes it into water. So that's the water I drink, with trace elements, to beef up the minerals in the water. And then I take the supplements that most of us do. I think magnesium for me is critical, because I try and be quite active. So I drink a lot of magnesium, vitamin C. I take MSM for the joints. I take collagen. I also, in the evenings, take potassium, zinc, and selenium. Those are my core supplements. And then I've got 1 or 2 other funky things. I don't know if you've ever heard of phytosaccharides.
I've heard, is it I think there's some herbs like noni and comfrey and some other ones that have that in there.
Look, I think so. So this is how my naturopath explained it, and I've never come across it. I've Googled it. I can't find it anywhere. He makes it, but basically the way he explained it to me, and I might get this wrong, so bear with me. But fruit, for example, the moment that a week before a fruit will fall from a tree on its own, because it's ripened and will fall from its tree, it produces this substance. It's a type of I think it's a type of sugar. So if you pick a fruit too soon, you never have that benefit. And when you buy fruit, most fruit are picked earlier, so that it doesn't go off in a shop. That's why it's so amazing. If you can pick a fruit that's ripe and eat it, you'll get the benefit from the phytosaccharide. But it's an incredible bone marrow health thing. So it improves the health of your bone marrow, which then eventually improves your general health.
Wow.
Substance that you get in fruit, I think it's a few days before they actually would fall from the tree. But it's only from that period. And then when it falls from the tree, I think it only lasts for about a week, then it's gone again. So I'll send you some information on it. That's another thing that I've used, but it's very expensive. If it's made in,
cool.
yeah.
That's pretty neat. I think that the guy or the woman or the spirit or whoever created this planet, this universe, they put everything we need to figure it out. You know, it's human beings that usually overcomplicate and overthink things.
Absolutely, we're the problem. Absolutely.
Yeah, we are the problem, not the solution, most of the time. So, what's your future plans like? What's something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, look, Jason, I mean, I love my work again, which is great. We import designer fragrances into South Africa, so some of the big brands, and we're the sole distributor. So I'm loving that, and I feel I've got energy again, and I can excel in my work where I've had a bit of a pause for about a year. Then from a personal perspective, I'm really looking forward to being active again. I don't know if I'll be my old self, but just to compete or just to be in the race for me. I've done a triathlon actually last year, October, and just after that I had the relapse, so I haven't done anything since. So I'm looking forward to a year where I can be quite active. Yeah, and then to travel a little bit. Africa is place, and South Africa in itself is quite not compared to the US, not even close, but it's a biggish country to see. So I'm looking forward to all of that stuff. So I'm in a good place. I mean, I've had a hell of a 5 years, and the last 3 with a few more ups, but still pretty bad downs. But I think it's going to become less and less.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, it's always nice to be hopeful and have plans and goals. And I think that's another big thing with this is you have to have something to hang on to get through this. And just getting to that point where you accomplish it and be humble by it and just be grateful that you got there is always a win. But yeah, this is quite the experience, right? And years go by and it's like, wow, I can't believe it.
Yeah. Man, you also said it. You appreciate life so much more.
Yeah.
I can sit in my garden staring at a bush, for half an hour.
Me too. Yeah, I sit with my dogs in the grass and I'm just like, I just listen to birds, and I didn't realize that a 35-year-old guy could sit with his dogs and just be at peace listening to birds. But I want to think that our ancestors were like that. I don't think they had all this crazy stuff we put on ourselves every day,
No, we put too much pressure on ourselves. I really think, minimalistic living is another thing that I'm looking into, to cut down just this material stuff, and to be in nature more.
Yeah, I know. I took the path of helping people and being connected to people, and that has its positive and its negatives, but it's healing to me to get away from it. At least I do once a week. I just get away from it, and it's something we've used so that we can connect to people, but it's like so much. It's constantly intrusive if you let it be, and I think that the most beneficial part of healing is getting disconnected and sitting outside and being with family, and
And I don't know how you do it, Jason. I mean, at some point when I'm still passionate about this, but at some point when I worked out what was wrong, I mean, I ended up I spent time with lawyers trying to sue the pharmaceutical companies. Then I ended up trying to get it into the media, and I managed to get it into the newspaper and onto that one program. And then I went into a phase where I just wanted to help everybody, especially when I feel good. You feel like I've sorted this out, I've got this covered. And then you end up helping people, but you can't, I couldn't sustain it, because it became so draining. get angry at you. They say, yeah, you can do this stuff. I can't do this. You didn't have it as bad as I did. But then again, they weren't here when I was at my worst. And yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think of you a lot. I mean, it's an amazing thing you do. But you have to
I
tap
try.
in.
Yeah, I would like to help everybody, but it's very hard because it's somewhat triggering too when people reach out to me and they're in their worst spot, and you try to give hope, but you have to have perspective. Yeah, you know, even when I was at my worst, I knew I could get better, and you know, I was just like a puzzle that was a mess, and I just needed to figure out how to put the pieces back together, and that's who I am as a person. But not everyone's like that, and I get that, but it's hard to not be able to feel like you're helping somebody, and you're right, it can be emotionally draining and hard, right? Because you're trying to give advice and trying to help, but it doesn't always resonate or land with everyone, and hopefully things like this help, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you asked me earlier about a wall, and it just comes to mind now that you say that. You may know the guy, I won't mention his name, but there was this one oak. I mean, I was talking to him a lot, but he was very, very down in the dumps and ended up committing suicide. And at that point, I also went off all the Facebook groups for about 3-4 months. I was just, you know, shattered by that. I thought I was helping the oak, but he was mentally just so hurt by that antibiotic.
Yeah.
Couldn't see himself through it, which was terrible.
It is, and it's happened so many times in the last 7 years I've been here, and it's scary. You know, I don't understand that component of it, and the best advice I can give anybody is, if you know somebody in that spot, like at least just try to be there for them, like you were, and that's all you can do, really. I mean,
yeah, and it's hard. When he was in the US, I was here.
Yep. Yeah.
That you can't do. You have to let that go, because if you keep that with you, you carry that negative energy, and you actually end up, you know, passing that on. So that's why, to your point, take a break from all of this every now and then. It's probably the best advice you can give.
Yeah. Even like some of my my Facebook group, I can't manage it on my own, so I have people help me, and it's a great tool, like connecting with people. But you know, in the future, I would love to just do the podcasts and write a few books and just put everything out there and say, hey, here you go. I've given you everything I've learned.
Yeah. Use it,
And hope. What's that?
There's a saying in South Africa: use it, don't use it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, like it's a hard road to be on, and not everyone's the same. Like we're all so different, but we all share the same issues, similarities, but each path to healing is completely different, and you know, that's what we all need to learn. I think, you know, these supplement questions, like what works for you, what should I take, and it's like that's a broad question. The one thing I can tell you that works for everybody is minerals. That's the only thing I found that helps everybody.
I agree with that. But I mean, it's also the manifestation of the symptoms. It's I mean, I didn't have any Achilles tendon issues for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the issue I can't get rid of. You know, so whereas other people get out of bed after one tablet and the Achilles snap, you know, it's just, and then you take that into your whole bodily system. You know, someone is weak in this area, and that's where you need to support. But that's the problem with this thing. You don't know where you're weak. That's why I think, for me, I was so excited to get the results, because I knew there was something missing.
Yeah, the organic acid test is fantastic. I mean, I've spent pretty much all the money I could spend on testing, and the oat test tells you exactly what's going on with your mitochondria and your gut, you know, methylation, everything. Like it gives you everything. And you know, I just took mine like I think a year ago, and I have a lot of things to work on, but I'm much better than I was, you know, and it gives me a roadmap to say, okay, this is what I need to fix, you know. So it's super helpful to know where you're at, and one day you might have a perfect oat test. That's what you're going for, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what we aim at. Aim high.
Yeah, aim high. Yep. So is there anything else you want to give back to people?
No, just that. I mean, look, for me, it's like just never give up hope. I mean, it sounds like a cliche. And I think attach yourself to positive people. And I mean, I can say this. I've been really, really, really sick, and I thought that I was going to die. I mean, my wife thought I was going to die. She would speak about it often. I was gray. I was pale. I was really sick. Like I said, I weighed 64 kilograms. I'm from 80 to 64. Sorry, from 78 to 64. And I was really sick. And today I sit here and I can do most of the things I love. So I want to leave that. I mean, that for me. And then a big thanks to what you do, Jason. I mean, you know, reach out if you see yourself. I mean, we're here to support you, but thanks for what you do.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And I appreciate you for coming here and spending time with me and spreading the word and giving people your story and hope. And that's what it's all about is people in their worst spot are going to turn this podcast on and listen to your story and be like, well, if he got out of it, I can too.
Absolutely.
You know, so that's what I'm trying to do. That's the mission. So
that's enough. I think it's all you can do.
Yeah. So I'm gonna so I just want to thank you for being here with me and, you know, spending time and spreading the word.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.